Well, nothing can beat the action inside the cage. Sometimes the true fight actually begins as soon as you get a good look at your opponent in person. And for this video, we're going to take a deep dive into some of the most savage trash-talking moments we've ever seen in the MMA game. Now, without further ado, and ranked in no particular order, here are some of the best trash-talking moments in MMA. Number 10. Chael Sonnen to Tito Ortiz. We're coming out of the gates with an all-time classic from the great Chael Sonnen. Whatever you can say about their respective fighting abilities, Chael versus Tito Ortiz on the mic is without question one of the biggest mismatches of the century. And after baiting Tito into criticizing his ability to use his mouth to get fights,
Tito, go ahead. Tell him what I do so well.
Well, he talks well. His mouth has gotten him in every fight, big fight that he's had. And every time when it's time to present and perform, he's failed. On Saturday night, it's not going to change.
Chael hit him with this verbal haymaker, bringing up his ex-partner Jenna Jameson, an adult movie star.
Tito always says I'm using my mouth to get my opportunities. The only person I know that made money using their mouth is his ex-wife.
Sonnen laid the trap and walked Tito directly into it, and the resulting burn was so harsh that most in attendance were too shocked to even laugh. And as for Tito, his attempt at a comeback was pretty dismal.
You're a punk, dude. That's what you call class right here compared to no class.
That was a nasty line.
No
by
class.
me.
Sure, he ultimately won the fight, but he definitely lost this round.
They don't call you the bad guy for nothing.
Number 9. Eddie Alvarez to Conor McGregor. Eddie Alvarez didn't have much in the way of success when it came to his brief rivalry with Conor McGregor.
I want an apology for saying my wife and kids. Suck these big artist balls!
But on this one occasion, he certainly did leave the Irishman without a reply. After taking a verbal onslaught from the featherweight champion, Eddie made a cutting comment about McGregor taking social welfare before he made it big, a dig that left Conor with no response.
I've already made the UFC great. 4.2 billion it was sold for. Without me, you're talking 150,000 buyers. When you're talking me, you're talking 2 million buyers.
You were on welfare, bro.
Okay, then
you ain't no man. You took welfare.
Okay,
don't talk about money. Don't you talk about money.
Then what wasn't it
you
at
took
that
money
place there?
from single moms. Single moms go on welfare, not men. You don't talk about money, all right? Keep your mouth shut when it talks about money.
Now, in reality, the cultural differences were not fully understood by Alvarez, given that McGregor getting the dole in Ireland was pretty normal and almost expected. But to the global audience, this certainly came across as a big 10-9 round for the Underground King, especially considering how often Conor talks about his money. Unfortunately, Eddie Alvarez couldn't ride this momentum into the fight itself. Number 8. Conor McGregor to Chad Mendes. There were only a handful of times that anyone truly got the better of Conor McGregor on the mic, because for the most part, he was handing out ridiculously sharp digs. And when it came to this video call with his future opponent Chad Mendes, McGregor's wit came to the forefront. During the interview, when Chad tried to take a shot at McGregor's wrestling skills, Conor came up with the perfect comeback, instantly stealing this round with style points.
I match up horrible for this guy. Conor, do you know what wrestling is?
I can rest my balls on your forehead.
Yeah, I know.
Mendes would, of course, go on to fight Conor at UFC 189 in an instant classic, and one that he even looked close to winning. But for our money, Conor McGregor very clearly drew first blood here. One of the wittiest comebacks you'll ever see in the fight game. Number 7. Daniel Cormier to Jon Jones. I don't know about you guys, but we certainly missed the competitive energy between Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier. In fact, more often than not, this rivalry went to levels that were undeniably personal. But one of the funnier moments came when Jon Jones tried to take a dig at DC, telling him that he looked like a crackhead with a suit on.
Oh,
Who
for
looks
sure.
like a junkie here today?
I look like a. I'm
You look
not.
like a
I'm not.
crackhead with a suit on.
Was that?
You look like a crackhead with a suit on.
Well, as it turned out, this one was laid out on a platter for DC to counter. He instantly retorted with the suggestion that Jones actually was that, earning a big cheer from the crowd.
I could look like a crackhead with a suit on, but I've never been a crackhead like you don't. So you can say I look like one, but I've never been one.
Even Jon himself looked like he realized he just walked directly into that one. Few events in MMA history pack quite as much of a punch as a Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier press conference. Number 6. Nate Diaz to Conor McGregor. Nate Diaz was truly the first fighter who proved himself to be a match for Conor McGregor, both in the cage but also on the mic. Unlike most of Conor's opponents, he wasn't moved by any of the Irishman's attempts to get inside his head.
I don't give a what you say, motherfucker.
And during the lead up to their first fight at UFC 196, when the discussion of training partners came up, Nate had no problem stacking his own team up against Conor's, taking shots at his movement training coach, Ido Portal.
Who do you train with? You got that little gookie motherfucker with you? You're playing
touch butt with that dork in the park, the ponytail. And I'm the one who ain't got no training partner? I don't think so.
An iconic moment that was as authentically Nate Diaz as it gets. Number 5, Dominick Cruz to TJ Dillashaw. Dominick Cruz is, without question, one of the sharpest trash talkers in the sport, an underrated gem of a mental warfare expert who has scored some huge moments on the mic over the years.
Pick up the belt like a man. Don't be touching the belt, you little weirdo.
Oh, I held it in front of you like a man while you couldn't reach it. You're going to be reaching for it with your T-Rex arms.
And ahead of his clash with TJ Dillashaw, Cruz let him have it at every opportunity. The Dominator spoke down to TJ whenever he had the chance, calling him out for his lack of intelligence.
He's not the brightest, so when he talks and the camera's on him, he kind of freezes up. And when it comes to me, I just say and I'm myself.
So when TJ tried to get the upper hand by bringing up the fact that he, of the two, was the only one to have a degree, Cruz used that mistake and turned it on him.
It's funny he likes to say that I'm not the brighter guy when I'm the one that's got the college degree. I'm the one that went through school, that was enrolled in grad school and decided to fight afterwards, when you've been nothing but a jock your entire life and wanted to fight.
Buddy, you might want to show that diploma next time you're at an interview with me so you look a little smarter, because you don't talk smart.
It was a vicious burn from this bantamweight legend. And, of course, when he finally did reclaim his title with a legendary performance against Dillashaw, it certainly made the win sweeter for his fans. Number 4, Dustin Poirier to Conor McGregor. Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor have taken plenty of shots at each other over the years.
Every single contest he gets in, he hits one knee. A gust of wind and he does the chicken dance.
And while the notorious one usually has the upper hand in the trash-talking department, Poirier was able to deliver a vicious line in the lead-up to their third meeting. During the UFC 264 press conference, when a reporter had asked Conor why he was no longer being respectful to his opponent, Dustin Poirier interjected, responding with this.
Conor, in the build-up to the last fight, you were unusually kind to Dustin. Now on fight week, it's the exact opposite. So when did that switch happen?
Because he got knocked the out.
Of course, Poirier wasn't finished just yet and proceeded to take one more dig at Conor, reminding him of his knockout loss, while also taking a jab at his McGregor Fast fitness program.
Not McGregor Fast, McGregor Sleep.
It's not often that someone scores a 10-8 on Conor McGregor, but this was undeniably one of those times, and Conor simply had no answer for it. Number 3, Leon Edwards to Kamaru Usman. It doesn't matter what happened for the 24 minutes that preceded it. If you win a fight by KO in the 25th, you have bragging rights. And despite the fact that he should have been aware of this, Kamaru Usman walked directly into this stinging shot from Leon Edwards when he tried to bring up excuse-making for their last fight.
A question for the champion, Leon, as well. A lot of talk about the altitude in that first fight and how you didn't really feel yourself. You're back at home now. Sorry, the rematch. You're back at home now on UK soil. You feel like it's going to be a completely different fight because of that?
Yeah, 100%. Technically, and like I said, altitude not affecting me.
What's the excuse for the first fight? What was the excuse for the first fight?
Edwards, who had shocked the world with an almighty Hail Mary head kick in the 5th round, seemed almost bemused by the fact that Kamaru was bringing up their first fight from years back. And so he decided to remind the Nigerian Nightmare of how Fight 2 went down.
What was the excuse for the first fight?
What was the excuse for the head kicking up?
It was a surprisingly great comeback from Leon Edwards, who went on to earn a unanimous decision win in their third meeting, officially putting their rivalry to bed. Number 2, Michael Bisping to Luke Rockhold. One-liners rarely come around as good as this one. In fact, this phrase has become so synonymous with both Luke Rockhold and Michael Bisping that The Count, to this day, uses it as the intro for his podcast, Believe You Me. During the UFC 199 press conference, Rockhold was in the middle of doing what he does best, spouting very melodramatic, motivational speeches to the crowd.
Some people strive to achieve things and some people strive to hate. If you believe in something, if you know something is going to happen, if you're confident in that situation, you will achieve things in life. That's how you overcome things. That's how you put yourself out there. You believe it and you achieve it.
Enter Michael Bisping with this line of the century.
Sounds like the worst self-help book you've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the up.
Even Dana White couldn't help but laugh at his reigning middleweight champion. And as it turned out, Bisping would ride this momentum all the way to a first-round KO over Rockhold, earning himself one of the biggest title upsets in UFC history. Number 1, Conor McGregor to Jeremy Stephens. When you're as famous as Conor McGregor, sometimes all it can take is one well-placed line of trash talk to forever brand a fighter. For Jeremy Stephens, he must have thought that he was about to make it big, pouncing on the opportunity to take a shot at the featherweight champion.
I volunteer as tribute.
So, when he found his moment, he stepped up, telling the world that Conor was not, in fact, the hardest-hitting 145-pounder on the roster.
Who do you think would give you the hardest fight out of anybody on stage?
Right here. Right here, the hardest hitting 145-pound, the real hardest hitting 145er, right here. This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't move.
Don't get us wrong, it was a decent attempt at getting his name out there, but as the old saying goes, if you come at the king, you best not miss. Conor, milking the chance to look around with an expression of confusion, uttered 6 little words that would forever be attached to Jeremy Stephens.
Who the f*** is that guy? Who the f*** is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the f*** is that?
As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Apart from that, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.